Hello everyone, once again. Welcome to From a Particular Point of View. I'm Dale. A little bit of the nerd side there. A guy named Pogo, Dated Picard. It's been around for a while, but it's an awesome little ditty song, I guess. It's one of those songs that really, if you're busy at work, if you just want something in the background just to keep your mind busy but not really block what you're doing, that's a really entertaining little jingle, I guess. It comes from, of course, Star Trek Next Generation. The characters and whatnot. It's pretty cool. Anyway, once again, I am Dale, and this is From a Particular Point of View. For comments, questions, concerns, whatever, watercoolercomments at hotmail.com or watercoolercomments@gmail.com. And I know that in the video, at least anyway, the entry to the video sounds terrible. I'm still having a hard time trying to figure out how to. I don't have a lot of the money for everything. This is kind of put together in a jibby rig kind of style. I don't have a soundboard or nothing like that, so that's probably the reason why. But for now, I know it sounds terrible. Please bear with me until I can fix it. Every now and again, I hear sometimes it sounds just about right, and it's like, okay, what did I do? How did I make it work? So anyway. My apologies. Again, that's just for the video. For the audio, it's different because it's the audio. It comes directly from my pre-recorded part. But with the video, it's like I said, I'm still working on that. It's a little bit better if I put because I do have a USB plug-in camera for the video part of this. Unfortunately, when I put it in the camera, it cancels out my Yeti microphone, which I like the sound of this thing. I not really like the sound too much of the two little microphones on the camera. So I gotta work on that. Anyway, hey, how's it going? This is Saturday, amazingly enough, the 8th of November. Yeah, that's so. Again, a kind of a crazy time there. Again, the government is still shut down, and I don't understand why. I mean, even some Democrats are screaming for this is all a Democrat thing, just flat out boom, because it's already been passed through the Congress, and it's in the Senate exactly as it was in the Congress, to my understanding. But the Senate, Democrat senators wanted to tack on like $3 trillion more on for illegal aliens to get food stamps, for illegal aliens to get free health care, to bring back PBS and OPB and all that to its former glory. And they have a whole bunch of stuff stacked up that they still want to put on. And Republicans, thank goodness, are saying, no, we don't need that crap. No, no, no. And of course, Democrats being all stompy footy and just anyway. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do some more quotes as per normal. I have heard some other ones that are pretty good, but I haven't got a chance to. I got to go look for some other ones, and I don't. When I hear a good quote, I don't always have the good fortune of sticking it in my phone, so I have to try to remember where it came from, whatever. Anyway, this one here has been circulating on both Facebook and Twitter. It's from G. Michael Hoff. Don't know who it is, but apparently he's somewhat a wise man, I guess. Anyway, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Seemingly, that's what we're into now, is there's too many weak men in charge, and the hard times, yeah, you get the idea. Anything you practice, you get good at, including BS. It's from Denzel Washington. Also from Denzel Washington, if you read the papers, if you don't read the papers, you're not informed. If you do read the papers, you are misinformed. Now, allegedly, Mark Twain said this, but I have not yet been able to find any proof that he did actually say this or write it. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. Very true. And this one here is allegedly attributed to Theodore Roosevelt. To anger a conservative, lie to him. To anger a liberal, tell him the truth. Very true, very true. On this one here, this was said allegedly by Zachariah Tutu, which is Desmond Tutu's father. Don't raise your voice, improve your argument. Very good, very good. And not the, let's see. Another one here, and I really like this one, considering that every time I hear on the news, scientists say a study shows blah, 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 blah. Well, 9 out of 10 scientists agree with whoever's paying them. That's unknown. This one here, last one for this time, actually I found this in a fortune cookie, and I was really surprised because fortune cookies usually give you some dumb thing. You'll find good fortune today, or luck will shine upon you, or some weird, stupid thing. Anyway, this fortune cookie said, I got this a few weeks ago, the wise learn more from fools than fools from the wise. Very true. Anyway, so with that, a few things that happened this week, and again, another drug boat is gone, which is odd. They're going through at least one a week, and you would think I guess Democrats are screaming because they're from, I think, Honduras or somewhere in South America, and the funny thing is that the Democrats have it in their mind that actually these are actually military boats from the government of Venezuela or somewhere, and they say that you have to actually have a vote from Congress to put war, to go against, to start war against another country. And I'm thinking to myself, well, for one thing, I have not yet to hear any of the South American countries claim that, yes, that drug boat is part of our government. None of them have said that. All I've heard is like it was a drug boat, and of course I've heard from Democrats say, well, how do you know it's a drug boat? It could be a sightseeing tour. It could be a fishing boat. It could be just a family out in the water just enjoying the day. And, well, as I understand it, it's international waters. I don't know any family that goes out in the Pacific Ocean just tooling around. This boat has, I think, huge 55-gallon drums of, I don't know if it's fuel or chemicals or what it is for making drugs. And these boats also have, I think, 4 or 5 250 horsepower outboard engines on them that is capable of going like 150 miles an hour or something like that. I don't know what the knots are, but it's capable of going super fast. I don't know too many family cruising boats or too many fishing boats that do that. So there's a good chance, I would say, that these boats are actually drug boats, and if they're going to the United States to deliver drugs, then kill them. And it doesn't need due process. I mean, it's a threat to the country, and that's one of the jobs of the president is to eliminate that threat to our country. And why the Democrats think that they need due process. I mean, these people are not American citizens, and they are not American citizens on American soil or in American water space, whatever you want to call it. So no, due process is not needed. If there's a threat, eliminate the threat. I mean, that's what Obama did, right? I mean, I believe that's what happened. Anyway, so yeah, another drug boat gone. Keep it up. That's great. I love it. I love it. I heard this on the news, which I thought was interesting. I guess the U.S. Is planning another trip. Actually, it's more like a race, because I guess it's a race between America, China, and I don't know if it's Russia's involved or not. But yeah, I guess there's a couple countries that is trying to get to the moon again. And to all those people out there who said we never went to the moon, I don't Oh, I tend to think we did. I used to work with a gentleman who says no, in the spacecraft that went to the moon, there was more computing power in a modern calculator than there was on there, and besides that, the radiation from the sun would have fried them as soon as they got off our atmosphere. And I was thinking to myself, well, that could be, but it's not, and I mean, maybe all that stuff is correct, and maybe we just did use blind, dumb luck to get to the moon and back. So I happen to believe we made it there. I mean, that's just me, but, that's, I guess. But we're planning on going back to the moon and using that as a stepping stone to go out, maybe to Mars, wherever. I mean, will we get to the Mars in my lifetime? Probably not. However, we probably get back. I mean, with the advancements that Elon Musk is doing in space travel, in travel off the planet, is remarkable. So with him and he's still young. So and I'm assuming that because of what he does, he has the capability to bring on people who are very, very intelligent. So far, I'm thinking it could happen. So anyway. Nancy Pelosi is doing something that she should have done years ago. She's actually not running for another term. I think she's been doing this for 50 years. She hasn't. I don't think she's been doing this. I think she first got elected 50-some years ago, and I think she resigned from the leader of the House or the minority leader of the House, whatever. I think a year or so ago, but now she's saying she won't run again. And my first thought was, what kind of idiot in Frisco elected her in the first place? Anybody in Frisco, man, you guys are morons for electing her, or whoever did. So, but yeah, thankfully, we're not having to deal with the scum that she presented, that and her money grabbing husband, who actually did inside trader information there for the stock market to make how many millions. That's what gets me with with most, if not all, of these congressmen in the U.S. Congress. I think they only make just under $100,000 a year, I think. But yet each one of them are millionaires. It's like, where do they get that money from? I mean, perhaps they have jobs outside of Congress, which is the way it should be. That's how our founding fathers did. Our founding fathers had their own life outside of Congress, and every now and again, if something popped up, if something happened, they'd get call, come on in, debate something, let's vote on it. When we're done voting, when our job is done, we go back home and go back to our lives. That's how it should be. Not like Nancy Pelosi being there it's not meant to be a 50-year career, which is ridiculous. But anyway, so she'll be out of there. Well, because they treat her like royalty. She won't be out of there, but she won't be. You get the idea. She's, I guess, retiring. Not taking another term. Anyway, as a part of last week's election, the past election, California voted and passed, and I don't see how. Well, this is probably because of the gerrymandering thing anyway. So they did pass a gerrymandering law to make it easier to take out any kind of Republican. I actually have on here, I found a meme. Now, I'm not sure exactly how accurate this is, but I think it's a really good idea. So California, I guess Republicans have 40% of the statewide vote in California. So there's 40% of California is Republican. However, they only have 9 out of 52 states in the seats. And let's see, I'm not sure if this is in the House or if this is the Senate, but you get the idea. Massachusetts has 35% statewide voting Republican. They have no seats in I guess so. Yeah, it would have to be the House for that 52 because it's not. Anyway. Connecticut has 38% of Republicans in the state, and they have no seats in the House. New York has a 42%, believe it or not, Republican voting. They have 7 out of 26. That doesn't sound quite right, but anyway, still, yeah. I think there's more in that than in New York. Anyway, in Oregon, where I live, 42% of the voters are Republican. There is 1 out of 6 that are Republican. So you get the idea. So I guess this new vote makes it even easier for California to pretty much make it so Republicans don't have a right. I mean, to my knowledge, that's illegal. I mean, you know, if it's the case with gerrymandering, to where you can make it so less and less of one political group isn't represented, then that means they don't have to pay taxes, right? There's no taxation without representation, and if my values don't get represented either in Salem or in DC, that means I don't have to pay taxes. Sounds okay to me. I mean, I don't mind paying local taxes. I mean, after all, I like having the police around here to protect me, like having the firemen to protect me, like fixing roads and bridges. You get the idea. But when it comes to just giving money away willy-nilly to, you know, which is kind of what this one's about. This, yeah. One thing I was going to bring up when it comes to this week is last week. It was the cancer within, and I just decided to put this as Cancer 2.0, considering that now that New York will have well, it's not necessarily the case of these Muslim, because there are Muslim, you know, as I understand it, as I heard it before, is that not every Muslim is a terrorist, but every terrorist is a Muslim. At least the Muslims and the terrorists that we know of. You know, like the ones that happened in 9/11. Yeah. And that's what blows my mind, is I've always understood that New Yorkers know more than anyone, more or less, feel it from the 9/11 terrorist attack with those 2 planes. Well, the 3. Well, I know the DC and New York is in the same area, I guess. Anyway, it just blows my mind that Muslims flew planes into the World Trade Towers. So New York should know better than anyone what Muslim terrorists will do. However, they voted in a Muslim, and how quickly people forget. New Yorkers, for the right-leaning New Yorkers, the conservatives in New York, I have my deepest sympathies. For the Democrats, you guys are morons, putting it very, very nicely, and you get what you deserve. Considering that, Mondami is also a socialist, and I did find a meme online that I thought was really interesting. It had to do with cows when it comes to to the left-leaning political parties. A socialist, you have 2 cows. The government takes one and gives it to your neighbor. Yeah, I guess that also, you know, is like taxes. If you're a liberal, you have 2 cows. Your neighbor has none. You feel guilty, so you vote people into office that tax your cows, forcing you to sell one to pay the tax. The people you vote on then use the tax money to buy a cow and give it to your neighbor. Give it to your neighbor. You feel righteous. It's a mouthful, but yeah. So pretty much, it's all about voting people in. That's what liberals do. They vote people in to make it so they don't have to do the dirty work, but the lawmakers do the dirty work to make it happen. The communist. You have 2 cows, the government seizes both and provides you with a cup of milk a day. Isn't that special? It's probably why the Soviet Union went when it's like it did. Let's see, and a conservative. If you're a conservative, you have 2 cows. You sell one, buy a bull, and you build a herd of cows. So, yeah, so why would anybody want to be a socialist or a communist? I understand that I saw a video recently, I think on Facebook, and this young lady said she has no problem at all with taxing the living snot out of rich people. And then the guy who was interviewing says, well, what about what happens when the rich people leave? What about then? Who are you going to tax then? Well, the middle class, and 50% tax. The more people who leave, the more you got to keep that tax up, so tax them 50%. And then she came out and says, well, I don't have an income, so I don't care. Tax everybody. If you have money, tax. It's like, is that really how liberals think? I mean, is that really the idea of just tax everyone until I'm comfortable And I mean, is that how lazy people have gotten nowadays? To where your typical liberal just wants to sit in the basement, play video games, and talk to your communist friends, and then when you want to, then if the other people don't do something, if they do something you don't like, then you go out there with your Soros paid signs and colored hair, and you go out there and yell and scream and destroy and burn things, and you know, and I saw a meme also recently that said something like, if you have the backing of the government and have the backing of the media, you are not the resistance. That's true. I mean, anymore, it just seems like conservatives are the resistance. No matter how bad your typical liberal, nutjob, communist, socialist idiot wants to consider themselves revolutionaries, they're not. They have the full backing of the Democrats, and they have the complete full backing and support of the media. Well, most of the media anyway. Considering that, you know, it's just amazing hearing, you know, because I don't watch CNN, MSNBC. I don't watch anything left-leaning. What I will do is I will listen to the radio. I listen to a couple shows on the radio, and they do the dirty work for me. They pick apart. They find news pieces that I find interesting. I believe it's Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. They have a syndicated show, and I think they do the morning show. I know in Portland, it's between like 9 and noon is when they do their thing, and they get through and they pick apart. They find interesting stories, and they find, hey, we thought you guys might like to hear this, or what's going on here. So I'm really enjoying that, and to hear them find things like that, it's mind blowing. You know, and why, you know, to me, it's like, why can't you just go out in there and get a job? You know, I heard people say that they hate billionaires. Well, you know, billionaires pay my paycheck. Billionaires buy machines that I operate to build the things that I build, to inspect the things that I inspect. And I like billionaires. I mean, do I want to make more money? Well, sure, everybody does. But you got a choice, because the more money you make, the more expensive your widgets become. So when you try to sell your widget to someone, it's like you. If you're going out there to buy a widget for whatever reason, would you want to buy the super expensive widget that's built by union laborers and whatnot, or do you want to buy a widget that may be, you know, I mean, it depends on what you want to use your widget for. If you want a high quality widget for some really extreme usage, you may want to buy a couple bucks extra for a widget. But if you want to just get a average widget, maybe not dirt cheap, but, you know, maybe not spend quite that much money, then sure, buy a cheaper widget from, you know, wherever, preferably built in this country, because I don't believe in giving China any more than money than I have to. I mean, you know, of course, most of the stuff in this room was probably built in China, unfortunately, at least, or Japan, which I don't have a problem with Japan. You know, I mean, I do have a vehicle that's made in America, I guess. I'm a kind of a Ford guy, and I like Ford, so. But I do know that that a lot of foreign car makers are now building their vehicles in America, which is okay. You know, I mean, I don't have no problem with a Subaru or a Toyota built in Kentucky or Indiana or wherever. I have no problem with that at all. So. But it does worry me also with what Mandani, whatever, being a Muslim. Considering, I found it interesting how if a conservative goes out there, if a Christian goes out there in a street corner, and does Bible preaching, he will get shouted down, he will get insulted, he will get assaulted. However, if a bunch of Muslims go out there and put their blankets out there in the street corner and start praying to Mecca, wherever the heck they pray to, they are not only celebrated, but they are documented. There's cameras out there, there's video cameras out there. Oh, look at these brave people. Look at these brave people celebrating their faith, celebrating their religion. How awesome are they? You know, and I'm now seeing videos to where I'm seeing people come out to say, oh, how much they support Islam, about how, oh, the Quran is wonderful. It's full of love and grace and forgiveness and blah, 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 blah. And to my understanding, it's not the case at all. Back when the internet was new, I knew someone who talked to a converted Islam. He's a Muslim, well, at least he's Middle Eastern, and he got out of Islam And he was telling my friend that, okay, you don't want this, you don't want Sharia law to come to the United States, because for the most part, it's really, you got to pray like 5 times a day. You can't eat pork. You can't do this. You can't do that. Your wives have to be fully covered, at least partially covered, which to me is ridiculous, but oh well. But they have a lot of strict laws. And so if you are a white person, or if you're any color except for Middle Eastern, Persian, whatever, then and if you want to convert to Islam, oh, you can. They have no problem with that, but you have to pay a duty. As I understand it, a lifelong duty. I don't know how much that is, or how much you have to pay, or when you have to pay, but you have to pay for the rest of your life a duty, tax, whatever, to be in Islam, to be in Muslim, or whatever. But if you choose not to, because that's when, if you choose not to be a Muslim, then you get, then you're in great pain. I guess in their eyes, that anybody who is not Muslim and who chooses not to be Muslim, you are in horrendous, terrible pain. It's up to them to take care of your pain by killing you. After all, if you're dead, you don't feel pain, right? Apparently that's how they feel, from what I've heard. From, of course, his second party hearing, but still, and it's their idea to, again, spread. My understanding is that to the Muslim world, total domination of the planet. Well, I've heard Western civilization, but it goes beyond that. So I'm guessing that to the Muslim, total world domination is their key. That's the problem I also have with New Yorkers. I've heard, I heard on the radio that that the very next day after the Muslim got elected into the New York mayor, the very next day, there was a real estate agent in Florida that just got bombarded with phone calls from tons and tons of New Yorkers saying, okay, when can we move? Is there a property for us? Do you have any hotels, any houses, apartments, blah, 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 blah. And she just got tons and tons and tons of phone calls, emails. And I've heard a lot of people say, no, we don't want those people here. I mean, after all, it's the people who are trying to move out of New York are the same people who voted for what's going on in New York right now. So right now, New York Democrats in New York, or even New Yorkers in the whole, they're trying to do the same thing that Muslims are. They're trying to, the Democrats are trying to get out of where they're at. However, they still have the mindset of big government, taxes, abortion, gun control. All this is still in their heads. And if they go somewhere else to live, they might get out of the environment that New York is in. However, they still have that in their heart and in their head. Hey, we may live in Florida, we may live in Texas, we may live in North Dakota, wherever, but we still think that this, and this. We still think that you shouldn't have a gun. We still think that women should get abortions without question. We still think that taxes for the rich should be super, super high. We still think we should get free. So if they move, and then they could also change, just like with illegal aliens. It's gotten so. I think that if it wasn't for all the illegal aliens pouring into the country, I think that Mondami probably wouldn't have got elected. I think it would have been Cuomo. I mean, granted, Cuomo isn't the preferred candidate. Even as Trump has said, if I had to choose between a really crappy Democrat or a socialist, I'd go for the crappy Democrat all day long. So, and I have to agree with that. I don't live in New York, never been in New York, and now I probably never will go. But still, it's the idea of, and that's the problem with living in Oregon, is seemingly all my adult life in Oregon, when it comes to voting, I've had to hold my nose, because even you have a choice between a really, really, really crappy Democrat or a Republican who just sucks, but he's not a Democrat. So you have to, again, too many times I've had to hold my nose while voting. It's the same thing in Alaska. I had to do the same thing in Alaska. It's the Democrats there. They just, it's terrible. It really is. But anyway, so it's the process, my friends, of the cancer isn't just an Islam thing. It's a Democrat thing. Again, just because they move out of a state that they didn't like to begin with, or it's the idea of they moved away from a state that they helped create, and the chances of them wanting to create another state, just like they were in, just like the people coming from Mexico who were illegal aliens. They came into this country, and they're pretty much morphing Southern California and Arizona and parts of Texas into Mexico. I mean, after all, a lot of these illegal aliens, when they come into California, Arizona, New Mexico, whatever, and when they're protesting, they're waving signs of the Mexican flag. They're waving the Mexican flag. They're not waving the American flag. And they say, well, this was our land anyway, so we just want it back. It doesn't work that way. You guys were conquered. That's how it is. Don't like it. That's just tough. Anyway, my friends. Anyway. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, it's been an interesting week. But, yeah, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it when it comes to that. And I also heard about, they're talking about ending the filibuster. And that would be a good idea to get this bill through. However, as I heard before from, I think, one of the Republicans in the House, is like, be careful with that because you might use it to do good, but the Democrats will use it to do evil. It's a very powerful thing. So anyway, yeah, have a great day out there. It's going to be, we're hoping that this thing ends soon. We really are. We really are. Because, I mean, I don't like the idea of everybody pulling my tax money for food. I mean, if you're truly in need, if you have issues, problems, handicapped, whatever, then if you really need the food, sure. I just saw a video of a woman complaining that if Trump takes away her SNAP, she will literally starve to death. This woman was quite obese. She was a big girl. And I was thinking to myself, if you starve to death, Trump will be out of office and dead before you starve to death. She was a very large woman, and the idea of her starving to death anyway soon was highly unlikely, very unlikely. Anyway, my friends, I'm gonna move on out of here and get doing other things. So let's get to the blessings at the end of the show. May the Lord keep you and bless you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. And that's from Numbers 6:24-26. A new one that I know about, but I just remembered to put this on here. That'd be nice. From 2 Corinthians 3:14. May the grace of the Lord Jesus, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. So until next time, my friends, have a great day. Be careful out there. Live healthy. And may God thoroughly bless you. So until next time, goodbye.